Hi, hello, friends. Welcome back to Night Court Narrative. I am Elvish. I hope y'all are doing it very well today. Today, we are finally starting our spoopy type whatnot with Suburban Hell. This is by Maureen Kilmer. If you guys are new to Night Court Narrative, you know, or you might not know that September, October, November, and December are very special months for me because I love everything fall. My favorite holiday ever was Halloween, and I was such a Grinch during Christmas, but very fortunately, my partner loves Christmas and has changed my ways and my thought process. So I do really love doing seasonal books. Obviously I'll add in non-seasonal books, but I wanted to start with spoopiness. So we do have Suburban Hell today. This was fantastic. I loved this book so much. You know, this book was definitely, it's been on my radar for about a good year and a half now. Or yeah, about a year and a half now. I've had it in my Amazon cart for a hot minute. Have not purchased it yet, but I saw it on Spotify Premium for like the audiobook, and I was like, you know what? I only have a few hours left. This meets the time limit that I have. Let me go ahead and do it. And my goodness, was I excited and very grateful for it. But yeah, Suburban, yes, Chicago. Suburban Hell is really cool. It's in Chicago. We have 4 friends. They live in a cul-de-sac. It's kind of like the Gossipy Hens. Like, if you think about how everyone in the town knows like everything about everyone, knows when all of your shits are, when all of your breaths are, you know that type of shit. We do have that in this book. It was very cool. I believe Amy, Jess, Melissa, Liz are the main characters. Amy is the main character. Liz is the one that unfortunately does get possessed, if you will. A lot of weird shit starts happening. Amy's kids, specifically her daughter, starts realizing a lot of weird shit happening. Her daughter is also the one that can see the demon, or at least part of the demon. I don't know. She has an imaginary friend. I never did understand that. Like, I never did put 2 and 2 together on that. I will be honest with you. Because she does have a quote-unquote imaginary friend, which is part of the demon, which is telling her everything that is going to happen, and has messed with her Barbie dolls, made messes with everything, has honestly made the daughter look kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but the daughter knows just about everything. There's home appliances turning on without power, like weed whackers. There's evil Roombas going around. There's a lot of crazy shit happening. And honestly, I really loved this book because it was fun, it was quirky, it was creepy, it was spooky. It gave a really nice just fall vibe. I loved the banter between the best friends, you know? Absolutely amazing. Liz's husband, though, Liz, the one that was possessed, her husband infuriated my core. Because, you know, they go over there, so Amy goes over to like talk to Liz, and Liz ends up taking her to the backyard, shoves her into a pit of hell, basically, that's in the backyard. So like Amy comes out, she's like scraped to bits, she like hurt her leg and whatnot, and so she goes to her husband and she's like, ayo, like Liz is kind of fucked up. So Amy's husband goes over to Liz's husband, I think his name is Tim, and literally Tim is basically like, oh well, I guess I'll get a lawyer now. And I'm like, oh, a what? And that's even what Amy was saying. Like, Amy's like, bro, like, you're more worried about the liability of me getting hurt rather than the fact that your wife is fucking psychotic. So, like, get your shit together, my guy. So, like, he infuriated me. I was like, bro, do you have no compassion for, like, humanity? But then at the same time, like, I think his name is Tim. He kind of didn't really pay attention to even his wife. So it wasn't until the very end of the book that he even realized something was happening. And he didn't even really realize something was happening. He was like, oh yeah, you know, the dogs are at my mom's house, because he ended up like snapping at her. Like, are you not? Like, you live with the woman, but you don't even know her. It was funny. It was funny. It was not like infuriating as, because okay, if you've seen Night Court Narrative, you know, like when I say infuriating, I'm like punching the air, like suplexing everything. But no, it wasn't to that extent. It was just infuriating. Like, be so fucking for real right now. Be so fucking for real right now, my guy. Your wife is quite literally fucking possessed, and you have no qualms about it. You have no idea that she is literally in there fucking levitating, eyes rolled to the back of her head and shit. Like, her like hair started falling out, her skin was basically melting off her, and I'm like, bro, you don't see any of this shit? You don't sit back and question what's happening? Like, again, be so fucking for real, my guy. But no, like, this book was super fun. I know I've said that, but this book was actually very, very well written. It was very well written. It kind of gave very much Desperate Housewife vibes, but it also gave me very much My Best Friend Isn't, or My Best Friend's Exorcism, which My Best Friend's Exorcism is the very first book that actually got me back into reading, and we are going to do, I'm actually rereading it for the podcast specifically, so you guys will get a video on that specifically. But yeah, like, it gave very much like Desperate Housewives, Best Friend Exorcism vibes. It was very fun, and as I mentioned, it was very quirky. It was very cute, and like the best friends are very much, God, they're gossipy. Oh God, they're gossipy. And you know, it's like I said, everyone is always in everyone's business. The thing that I did not like about the book, and I know this is gonna be like very fucking heartbreaking, the thing I did not like about the book was literally the ending. So there were 39, 40 chapters in this book, right? They waited until the last chapter of the book to do the exorcism, right? They waited until the final chapter of the book to do the exorcism. The exorcism was like maybe 2 pages long. The whole chapter itself was maybe like 10 pages long, but the exorcism itself was only like 2 pages long. They said some words in Latin. The author was very kind to translate said words in English afterwards, and then everything was completely back to normal. So I'm looking around like, did I miss something? Because this entire book, you have 37, 38 plus chapters hyping you up for this grand fucking exorcism. Like, you know, I thought there were gonna be like bed shaking, lights going off, fucking spoopiness to my core, but instead it was just like, here's Latin, hi bestie. And I'm like, what the fuck? So the ending was so underwhelming. So before the book ended, funny enough, before the book ended, I think I was like chapter 25 to chapter 30ish. I went ahead and I already rated the book. I was like, this is 1000% a 4.5 star read. I love it. Like, I could tell it wasn't necessarily a 5. There was just some things that just kind of turned me off from it, but it was a 4.5 star read. And then once the exorcism chapter happened, I'm like, well, that was a fucking letdown. Like, all the climax for literally nothing. And I'm like, what the hell? So I did end up dropping my rating down to a 4-star rating. I don't think it deserves anything under a 4-star, but my God, like, why do authors do that to us? And I don't mean any, like, I don't have any ill intent behind it, and I don't mean to be like disrespectful or anything, but why do authors do that? Because it literally felt like chapter 1 through, let's say, chapter 35, maybe 36, it was such a well thought out, planned book. It was very well written. Everything went so smooth. It was a good palate cleanser. Everything that happened for a reason. There were nice descriptions. Like, I don't want to say world building for this book necessarily, but like, they built everything up to have a purpose. Everything in this book served its own purpose. And at the end of 35-36, not the end of the book, but 35-36, everything started clumping together to where every loose end and every question you had ended up making sense. And then for some reason, chapter 37 to the very end, 39, 40, whatever, everything just like fell flat. It's like she was taking all the loose ends and finally tying them together, and then just dropped it completely, watched it roll away, and was like, good enough. And then just dipped. I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck happened at the end? The ending was garbage. But truly, I loved this book. I do wish it, for the sake of it, I do wish the book was a little bit longer, because if it was a little bit longer, we would have had a more thought out ending. But if the ending was going to continue to be the way it was, I'm glad it ended where it did, because I don't want it to be ruined a little bit more. The epilogue, in my opinion, like, epilogues are kind of like, oh, okay, cool, like, you know, we're getting closure on things. The epilogue for me was just a bonus chapter that gave absolutely zero. And I know it kind of gave a little bit of information, but for me personally, I could do without the epilogue. I could do without the final chapter, aka the exorcism. I could literally do without it. Like, I finished the book probably 5 minutes before recording this video, and I am left with more questions than I had before. And most of my questions are, why? Like, everything was so, like, she just breezed past everything. She breezed past the occult bookstore. She breezed past, like I said, the exorcism. She breezed past how she looked. Like, they literally said that Liz, her skin, like, peeled off of her body, and like the demon or something was underneath. You could have gone into so much depth and detail with that specifically. You could have made almost an entire half chapter of just that alone, and that would have been better than the half-assed, basically 2-page exorcism that we got. Like, there are ways that it could have been done better. I mean no disrespect, but it kind of felt like the author was just fed up with this book, and it kind of felt like she just ran out of ideas, so she just pasted on this half-assed, shredded up band-aid and was like, here you go, and called it a day. And I hate it so much, because this book was phenomenal. And will I recommend this book to people? Abso-fucking-lutely. This book was great. But I do have to give the disclosure, obviously, this book was great. The ending will disappoint you more than, yeah, I don't want to be rude, but I had something funny, and now I feel like that would have been insensitive. So I almost said mother-in-law, but my mother-in-law is really cool, and she's chill, and she's a cutie pie. But you know, some of y'all have mother-in-law zillas, you know. I'm trying to save my brain right now, it's not working. But yeah, that's actually all I have with this one. This is a book that I'm definitely going to think about for a long time. It actually gets me pumped up to reread My Best Friend's Exorcism. I absolutely loved that book as well. So I am ready for the Spooptober and the Spooptimber moment that we're going to have here. I have a lot of really cute books coming. They're kind of on the cozier vibe this year, and I'm excited. But as always, If you haven't read this book, please do read it. Like, actually go read it. I didn't even tell you guys like everything that happened, because when I really love a book, I want to tell you guys all about it, but at the same time I want you to go and experience it for yourself. Just know you're gonna be extremely let down by this ending. Absolutely let down by the ending. Or if you loved the ending and you read this, let me know, because clearly I'm missing something, but I'm okay with that. Either way, I hope y'all have a very wonderful day. And as always, eat something, please, because I have yet to eat something today and I feel lightheaded. So let's go eat together and yeah, have a good day.